Today's book is The Silent Patient by Alex Michealides. In this book, we meet Theo Farber. He is a psychologist, and he is leaving his current employment to go work at another facility. I think it was called The Grove. Anyway, we know that he has some ulterior motives. He is going there because there's a lady who's there who had killed her husband. She has some notoriety, and she has not spoken since she had committed this murder. So he is intent on going there to make a name for himself because he wants to get her to talk. At least this is how it seems in the beginning of the book. So anyway, he goes there and he meets his patient. Her name is Alicia. Alicia was married to her husband, Gabriel. And Gabriel was a photographer. It seemed like he was from a decent family. He also has a brother, older brother, Max, who's an attorney. So anyway, when he first gets there, he tries to talk to her as if this hasn't been done before. But anyway, no reaction at all. So he thought that maybe they should, they have her on too many meds. So he wants to make this recommendation that her dosage be reduced. So once he did that, after he did that, then, it didn't work out so well because she attacked another patient at the facility. But I guess in her defense, this lady was kind of goading her. And so it wasn't as if it was out the blue. But anyway, he kind of got into some hot water about that. So he comes off as the good guy because he wants to find out what exactly happened to her leading up to the murder, any information he can find about her life and all that to be able to help her. So we see where he goes and he talks to Max, who's the older brother, trying to get information about what the relationship was like and all that. And he also talked to her cousin, who lives in the house that they used to live in when she was younger. And it doesn't seem like they really had much of a relationship, Alicia and him. She kind of left this life behind because I guess the family life wasn't that great. But anyway, in the house there, her aunt lived there, which is I think it was her dad's brother, and the cousin, who is, the aunt's son. So he also interviewed John Felix, who was her gallerist, who was displaying her work because she was a painter. And we kind of delve in the book, I guess, into the past of these relationships and what had happened leading up to the murder. I guess, via his questions and his actions, trying to develop, a timeline and have an understanding of, her state of mind or what was going on in her life to be able to find something to trigger her to be able to come out of whatever it is that she's in. Now, we also meet Theo's wife. I'm sorry. I can't remember her name. But anyway, she is in the theater. She's like an actress. And they had met at a dinner that they were having with some friends, some outing, some social gathering. And at the time that they met, he was seeing someone and so was she. Well, after he met her, he kind of dropped the girl he was seeing. And after a while, they got together. So it seemed as though he was punching above his league in a sense. He's really in love with her and all that. He's happy to be with her. But it seemed like there was something that was going on with his wife. And, not long after the book started, we kind of realized that he's all in, but maybe she's not so much. So the story delves into their marriage as well. We also find out that Theo had a psychologist himself, and it seemed as though he had been seeing this lady for years and years and years. And it seemed that he had some, maybe, I don't want to say he's crazy, but maybe some mental issues that he needed to talk through. So anyway, we find out that there's some issues in their marriage, something that happened in the book, and he went to go see his psychologist. And she had mentioned that he should end the relationship. And what does he do? He does the opposite of that. He decides, like, listen, I'm the one who knows what's best for me. She's wrong. And so they stay together. Along the vein of this marriage now, he realizes he came across, of course, he discovered something that happened. And then he realized, like, oh, yeah, I probably need to do something about it. But leaving was not the solution. So even though he knows that something is up, he stays in the marriage. It seems like he deliberately asked to do things with her because I guess it's a test, because she continued to say, no, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to do that. And kind of dissuade him from joining her when she was doing certain things. And so he knew, like, okay, I guess whatever it is still happening. So he knows the whole time, but she doesn't know that he knows. So in this part of the story, towards the end of the book, we find out that he takes some action towards this. And it's not in the way that I would have thought, although he had thoughts of violence, but that is not really the route that he went. He went, I guess, through a more, a sadistic route of getting his revenge on that front. So at one point, John Felix, who was the gallerist, had mentioned, like, maybe, you should probably get her some painting supplies. That could be a way to break through to Alicia to get her to talk. So in a lot of discussions with the heads of the facility, some were against it, but ultimately he ended up getting his way, and he got her some painting gear for her to be able to paint. And of course, yeah, that initially didn't go so well because somebody got hurt. And it seemed like, she was kind of violent, but really, again, it was something that I guess you could see both sides of the situation that happened. So he got some reaction out of her after a while, and he continued to, move, delve into her life to get information, and, as he initially planned on doing. And at one point, we see where Alicia had given him her diary. And so while we're going through the contents of the diary and throughout the story, she was saying that she wasn't the one who killed her husband, and he was hell-bent on, he didn't believe that that was true. So at this point, I was wondering if maybe she didn't really kill her husband, and maybe it was a case where people just didn't believe her, and maybe something else was up that was overlooked. And I wanted to believe that that was the case as well. So he didn't believe her, and I don't know, why he didn't at that point, but I was like, okay, maybe she's really crazy, and this is just in her head that she has one belief versus reality. But we find out towards the end of the book that, yeah, there was, more to Theo being there as well. We realize that that his path has crossed with Alicia, not directly, but indirectly. And he had a part to play in this whole situation that had gone down. And the end of the book I was just like, man, this man is so sadistic, the way he had played this thing out, and certain things that he knew well ahead of time. And you're like, man, what kind of person is this? So also towards the end of the book, we find out a little bit more about the revenge that he had on his wife. And basically, it seemed as though he turned his wife into a silent patient as well because of what had happened. Without giving too much away, she was kind of retreating into herself, just from all that had happened in the book and what had happened to her. So, I have seen this book going around, and I wanted to review it because I was curious as well about what is happening. What's the storyline going to be about the silent patient? Because, based on the title, this person's not talking about what is the deal, with this person. How is the story going to play out? But honestly, I was shocked when we got to the end of the story and how it just made me wonder if like people who work in the mental health field, it just makes me want to be scared because, they have more knowledge about the inner workings of the mind and, are they, although they shouldn't, are they using the knowledge that they have on you? It's like one of those fears that you have like, oh my gosh, let me stay. Anybody who says they're a psychologist, I'm not going to talk to them too much because who knows what they're doing to my mental. It's kind of silly, but I was just like, man, are all psychologists or psychiatrists like devious, you know? But I did enjoy this one. I would give this 4 stars. Let me know your thoughts if you have read or listened to The Silent Patient. Until